Hi, this is Mr. Nazarian. Our lesson objective today is I can write and interpret numerical expressions that record calculations. It's 5th grade standard, Operations and Algebraic Thinking, A2. So, what are calculations? Calculations explain what numbers and operations we use to solve a problem using words. So, an example might be double 6, then add 4. An expression is a group of numbers, symbols, and operations that represent a value. So, it would look like this: 6 times 2 plus 4. Notice that expressions do not have equal signs. Equations do, which we'll work with later. Okay, for this first one, we'll have the calculation multiply 3 and 5, then subtract 4. So, we are basically following the steps, following the directions here, this calculation, to write into a numerical expression. So multiply 3 and 5 looks like 3 times 5, and then subtract 4 means minus 4, right? So here you'll see this expression represents this calculation. So we have multiply 3 and 5, 3 times 5, then we're subtracting 4, minus 4. Here's another example. Multiply the sum of 3 and 2 by 6. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, but we just have to read it carefully. So, in this last one, it was pretty straightforward, where it just says multiply 3 and 5. Okay, I can do that. 3 times 5. Then subtract 4. Okay, minus 4. But this next one, you'll notice that it says multiply the sum of 3 and 2. So that is a really big cue for you as you're doing these. Is anytime that you see the sum of, or the product of, or the difference of, where it's telling us that it has the answer of the other part of the problem we need to find first. So the sum of 3 and 2, as you all know, sum means the answer to an addition problem. So that means that first what we have to do is find 3 plus 2, what the answer to that is. Then we're going to multiply that by 6. So we have here the sum of 3 and 2 by adding 3 plus 2. Then we multiply it by 6. Now, there is a problem if we leave this this expression like this, the way that it is, that won't represent this calculation. And it has to do with order operations. So, remembering from our last lesson, in the order operations, which operation would we do first? Addition or multiplication? We do multiplication, right? And so that means that first thing that we would do if we were solving this expression, it would do 2 times 6. And then we would add 3. Is that what this calculation is asking us to do? It's not, right? It's saying first you find the sum of 3 and 2, then you multiply it by 6. And you'll end up getting quite a different answer if you don't do it in the correct order. So we're going to have to put parentheses around 3 plus 2 to make this expression represent this calculation, which is first we're finding the sum of 3 plus 2. We're making sure that that's the first thing we do by putting parentheses around 3 plus 2. Then we multiply by 6. Okay? Let's look at another one here. Okay, so subtract 4 from 12, then divide by 2. So what step would we do first for this expression? We would subtract 4 from 12, right? Because this division part, it says then do that, so it's after this first step. So subtract 4 from 12, look like 12 minus 4. Then we would divide 2. Again, if we left this expression the way that it was exactly, it would not be a representation of this calculation, and we would not get the same answer as if we followed these steps of this calculation. So what would we have to do to make this expression more closely represent this calculation? We would have to put parentheses again around because what's the first step? Subtract 4 from 12, which means I have to put the parentheses around 4 and 12, because otherwise division would have come before subtraction, right? So I ended up dividing 4 divided by 2 first, and then I would have divided that from the 12. But I want to divide, I want to subtract 4 from 12 first, and then divide 2. All right, so that is how you write numerical expressions, and we will work on that tomorrow. Okay, see you then.